What's going on, everyone, and welcome back. And we are finally back with another episode with the now two-time defending champion Mobile Bay Bear expansion franchise. We have just won back-to-back World Series championships. As you guys know from the last episode, that is right where we ended it, and we have picked it up in this episode on day one of the off season. And what a year it was. I am still speechless. I cannot believe we won it twice in a row, but all of the long off seasons and long years have paid off, and we have finally starting to really become a dynasty, so to speak, and hopefully we can continue that going forward. Um, I know I took about a week off, and I apologize about that. But as I explained in the last episode or two, my family was coming into town. They have came and went. It was good to spend time with them, and always, a lot like family coming around and hanging out with them and getting that good quality family time. So that's why we paused the series, so to speak, until they went back home and I was able to spend more time doing this and not have to miss out on family time. So again, I appreciate you guys for being patient with me and sticking through it, and welcome back. It is time to begin our season, so to speak, and that's the general manager season, and that is day one of the off season, and it starts right where we left off. It's decision time on some options. We apparently have a new budget, so we'll take a look at that, and then our development facilities have opened up, so we'll need to assess who we want to put in that facility. And what programs we want them to try and improve on. So a lot to go on in this episode. Won't be a whole lot of moving forward, I don't anticipate. It might be, but we have a lot of things to do at the very beginning of the off season. As you guys that have played this a few times know, there's a lot of things in that first day or two that's got to get done, so you can get the off season rolling. But first and foremost, just want to take a look at the 2037 World Series champions. 104-58. We had a score of 1222 out of 1,000, so my math tells me that's pretty good. Our highest offensive player was at a 5.9 WAR. We were tied there with two separate players, Mason Davis and Luis Castillo. Both had a 5.9. We had multiple players in the threes, multiple players in the twos, and then several players with a positive WAR. A couple that had the negative WAR, but they were not a part of the final playoff roster in the World Series championship, but they do get credit because they were on the team. Pitching wise, it was this team. The team was really good just everywhere, but pitching, I think, was our strong suit. We had two pitchers with 5 or better WARs. Chris DuBose had a 5.8, led the team. Matt Simbrat had a 4.5. He led the team in wins, though, at 18. Our entire starting pitching rotation, so the lowest starting pitcher was a 2.7 ERR, 2.7 WAR. So that's usually pretty good sign that you have a good rotation if your lowest WAR was a 2.7. Again, there was some guys in the bullpen that really just didn't do what we wanted them to do, but at the end of the day, we had enough starting pitching and just enough in the bullpen to get us through. On the offensive side, we had a couple of those guys. We did have Jeff Taylor. I did misspeak. I guess Jeff Taylor was on the team the whole time. So he was definitely a replacement guy for Vicente whenever he didn't play. But Vicente had somewhat of a better year, but then he dropped off again at the end of the year. So after all said and done, his bat has really declined the last 2 years, and that's unfortunate because he was a stud all around, and it just seems like he's become more of a defensive specialist, and I don't care. Like, that's fine. I just would like a little bit more out of him, but at the same time, whenever you look like that on the defensive side, I'm not going to say a whole lot. He has come down a little bit. He was all 80s with all the ratings, so he's starting to decline there too, but he's 29 years old, soon to be 30, so, a 30-year-old catcher is going to decline a little bit, I think, and I think that's accurate. But yeah, that's the 2037 World Series champions. We do have a big decision here on Mason Davis. I believe we're going to get an option for him, an option year decision. I think it's a no-brainer. We're going to bring him back. It's just, he's our guy. He'll be 32 next year, but at the end of the day, led the team in WAR, had arguably one of his best seasons ever. Statistically, with WAR and everything, it's his second best season. But, at 31 years old, put up some pretty impressive numbers. He had a 30-30 year, and that's the first time he's eclipsed that mark in his career. He's had some 20-20 years, and he had a 30-20 year, but never a 30-30. So really cool to see him finally eclipse that mark, and he is putting together quite the resume, and hopefully we can keep him on. We do have 2 option years left on him, so we will have him for at least 2 more seasons, and then see if we can't lock him up long term to keep him on the team until he retires. That should be doable, seeing that we did get a new owner. If you guys might remember, our owner died, and the owner we got was his son, who has a completely different fiscal personality and is willing to dish out the money, and we have some. So we have some contract extensions to make and a really good opportunity to keep the majority of this team together and try to run it back for a three-peat and see if that can happen. It's going to be tough. It won't be the same team, but at the same time, there will be a pretty similar product on the field next year. I'm pretty confident in. So, yeah, I mean, hopefully we can make another run at it. But as far as decisions, there's the option year. If we don't choose to keep him, we have to pay him $3 million. If we keep him, it's $23 million. I think it's obvious we execute and bring him back. Before we get to the budget, I do want to go to the front office and check up on this here. Our fan interest is now almost at 100. It's at 94. And our fan loyalty is creeping up as well. It's still good loyalty, but it's definitely made its move. Market size is still below average, but I don't know exactly if that can change. Maybe it can. I don't know if I've ever seen it change, but again, I'm still relatively new to the game. You see up here, we do have quite a bit of moolah that is available. We have $25 million available for 2038 and $49 million available for extensions into 2039. So we definitely have some room, and our payroll in 2038 is now 16th, and our budget is tied for 16th. So we've now crossed into that mid-tier team as far as financials goes, and pretty excited to see what we could put together here this offseason. There might be a pretty big offseason for us. But anyways, the budget is here, and he has decided to give us $190 million for a payroll, which is pretty massive if I remember from our last year. Oh yeah, $190 million payroll for players, but he's given us a $250 million budget. Our budget last year was $210 million. So because of the death of his father, we have benefited in the form of $40 million boost in budget. So super excited about that, like I have mentioned a couple times. Other than that, nothing crazy. We do have to take a look at arbitration and take a look at development facilities. So I'm going to go ahead and look at the arbitration eligible players and see if there's anyone that I'm going to offer or not offer. And then I'll also take a look at the development budget or the development facilities. And once I get those figured out, I'll let you guys know, and we can get this thing moving forward. Before I get to the arbitration, I just want to give you guys a quick update / recap of the players that we have already signed since we have gotten a new owner. And I don't remember if I went through each contract with you guys or the players that we signed. I'm pretty sure I did, but I wanted to do a recap and or introduce it to you for the first time. I apologize. It's been over a week or so since I did sign these guys, so I can't remember off the top of my head if I gave it to you in the episode. I know I did it towards the end of the season. So first and foremost, Danny Skelding, our second baseman, we did lock him up long term. Got him until 2043, where he will be 31 years old. 2042 and 43 will be team option years. And then from now until 2041, he will slowly increase his value, or how much we pay him. From this coming year, $4 million, then $8 million, $12 million, $20 million, and then his two option years are $19 million apiece, and those are team options. If you've been with us long, I love the team options on the back end of the contracts. I usually can get players to go for those. The other one we did is our closer, Judas Nangare. We locked him up till 2043 as well. Again, he'll only be 32 years old at that point in time, and both of his last years are team options at $8 million apiece. The most he is going to make is in 2041, and that's $10 million. Every other year of this contract is $8 million. So I feel like it's a pretty good deal considering he just gave us 2.27 ERA with 67 games with 67 innings pitched and 36 saves and 8 holds. So if he can continue things like that, he is going to be a steal of a contract. Next is Jesus Tirado. We locked him up as well. I really like just kind of how he performed the last couple years. 2.12 the year before last, 3.75 last year, but was a really good staple for us, and just solid results. 50 to 60 innings, 12 saves this year, 32 last year. He had 11 holds this year, so not as good of a year, but he was locked up just as a solid bullpen option. The next one was Josh Cawley. Locked him up till 2043 as well. You guys might be sensing a theme. He will also be 32 years old at the end of this contract. His last 2 years are $10.5 million team options. Until then, he will make $10.5 million the next 2 years and $11 million in the middle 2 years of that contract. He is a lefty starter for us and has been really solid for us each of the 2 years, really year and a half that we've had him when we got him in a trade to Pittsburgh, or from Pittsburgh, I should say. That is the contracts that we have negotiated and completed. One note, I did look into keeping Matt Simbrat, and it's just too much. I know we got a new owner, and I could probably make it work, but he's wanting $40 million for 7 years, and that's just, it's outrageous. So what I'm gonna do is, it is obvious that like next year it will be his last year with us, but it's not a total loss because he is set to make $21 million this year. He's for sure going to want $25, $30, $35 million next year for a contract extension, but we will just offer him a qualifying offer and get a draft pick in return. So silver lining there for Matt Simbrat, just wants too much, and I still am going to penny pinch on my end a little bit, just because I know $40 million right off the bat for this pitcher is just not going to be a good contract long term. So we will just offer him a qualifying offer at the end of next year and get a draft pick hopefully for that. Another player that kind of fits that bill, who was it? Oh, Luis Castillo. So I was looking to get him a contract as well, and he is wanting $42 million a year. That's tough, right? That's a lot of money, and it's very similar to Simbrat. I just don't know. He's wanting an 11-year deal. He'd be 36. It's just wild. I just don't see it. He could be worth it. I mean, he has done nothing but dominate his first 2 years in the major leagues. I mean, he had a 6.6 WAR his first year and a 5.9 WAR next year, or this past year. So he's been outstanding for us. It's hard to justify, 42, 43. I could probably get him for $40 million a year for 11 years. Like that's a steep contract, and I might be overdoing it as far as like being conservative, but again, silver lining with him is we can keep him all the way through his arbitration years, and then hopefully at the end of that he will be worth a qualifying offer to give him, and he deny it because we still have him until 2040, and next year he's going to make roughly $10 million, then $20 million, then probably around 30. So at the end of that, we can give him a qualifying offer and see if we can get a draft pick. The other guy we tried to look at is DeBose. I liked him the most out of all the ones we looked. Another lefty. He's only wanting $32 million. I have not closed myself off from this deal, and you guys can let me know what you think in the comments. But he's only 23. He'll be 24 here in about 100 days. I think there's a deal that could be done here. It's somewhere in the, if I could get him into the 20s, and that be the most I pay him, like 26, 27, or I don't know, somewhere around in there, $28 million a year. I think it would be worth it with him being 23. Even if he wanted a 10-year deal, that's only 33. And we could do what I always do and do the team options for the last two. So we're looking at 31. It might be worth it. It would be the largest contract we've ever signed. But we're definitely going to be in that realm now because we have more money. But I really do like DeBose. And I think out of those three players that are wanting that much money, he is the one I'm leaning towards the most. Could be completely wrong there. Let me know what you guys think. But I think he would be the right way to go. Maybe I'm just blind to it, but that's just kind of where I am at this point. And two seasons with us, really like a season and a half. He had 11 starts last year. He had 3.17 ERA, and then the last year he had 31 starts at a 2.86. He has great control. He's only a 3-pitch pitcher, but when you have good control and you can locate and you have good movement and things like that, like you're going to be fine. So I like DeBose a lot, and I hope I can work out a deal with him and keep him long term in the rotation. But if not, then his arbitration will get out of control as well, and we'll offer a qualifying offer to him. That is it for arbitration. As far as the people that could potentially get a qualifying offer, I don't think anyone's going to get it this year. I'll have to take a look, but I'm pretty sure no one is going to get a qualifying offer from me this year. It will definitely happen next year with Sim Bratt. All right, moving on to our development lab. Go through those guys real quick. Nate Price, we're going to try to get his changeup improved. That's the one thing that is holding him back, I think, at the major league level. He's essentially a 2-pitch pitcher right now. If he can get that changeup up to its potential, then he might be pretty solid for us. Next is Yber Reynolds, another up-and-coming stud pitching prospect that we have, and doing the same thing for him, trying to get his secondary pitch improved, or improvement in his secondary pitches, and he will be dangerously close to making an appearance in the major leagues next year. Next is Shamel Lade, a young third baseman that we have been working with in our organization. He's 22 years old. Kind of moved up through the ranks pretty quickly. Is in AA, very small sample size, but all things are pointing in the right direction for him. Kind of an interesting profile for hitting, at least. Pretty solid power, doesn't strike out a lot, and he's going to walk quite a bit. Doesn't have much gap power, but we do like those three if they can reach their potential. And he does play a very solid third base, which we're in the need for. So be interesting to see if he could potentially make our opening day roster. I don't know. It depends on how this develops, but he's really, really close offensively being ready for the major leagues. Defensively, he can play third base for us right now. We just need to see if we can get development here on the offensive side. All right, next is Sam Grissom, another outfield prospect that we have. Pretty solid young prospect. Not much on the speed side, but plays excellent outfield, has great range, and potentially could hit pretty well for us too. So not a ton of pop, but gonna hit enough. Definitely a pretty balanced profile. Just isn't gonna walk a ton, but has also played really well everywhere. Last year he played his entire year in AA and just dominated. So gonna start him out in AAA. I've already moved him there, and he could quickly make it onto our 26-man roster. All right, next is our stud pitching prospect, Mr. Chris DeBose. We're going to try to get a final push at this control rating and see if we can't max that out and almost max out his complete profile. So hopefully we can make that happen and he could solidify that control that he is capable of. All right, next is I don't know if I mentioned it, but we went for quality of contact here for Sam Grissom. And then for Mr. Mike Hebert, also looking at the potential to improve these secondary pitches, most notably the splitter. Really has a decent profile right now and should be pitching better than what he is in the majors. He had a very, just call it what it is, bad season, 6.16 ERA. He had 19 games and he pitched for 57 innings. So he had 7 starts. Just it wasn't what we wanted, and then he had 15 starts in AAA and still had a 4.19. So something's off, and maybe it's the splitter. I don't know. All right, next is our franchise guy, Mason Davis. This will officially be the oldest player I've ever put in the development lab. And you might be thinking, what the hell? I am doing it to, one, test out the theory that old guys shouldn't be put into the development lab, but two, to try to keep him healthy and put him in a strength and conditioning program to try to minimize the injuries that he could potentially have. So just going to test it out. I really had an extra spot to throw someone in, and I figured why not invest a little bit in the franchise guy that we're going to try to invest in and lock up long term, and hopefully he plays with us for his whole career. Last but not least is our closer, Mr. Judas Nangare. We have him locked up to 2043 now. We're also going to put him in a strength and conditioning program. He is fragile, so we're trying to help minimize the injuries that he could potentially have. Don't know if it'll work, but can't hurt to try. That is the development lab, and let's go ahead and get through award season and see what we won. All right, we did come away with 3 awards. First one is the manager. We won the manager of the year, or our manager did. We are the GM, so I guess our manager did win that award. So congrats to Mr. Dave Vliestra on winning that. The other awards that we won was the Silver Slugger for Luis Castillo. That is his second Silver Slugger, so congrats to him. And last but not least, the streak is still alive. Vicente Jasso has now won 6 straight Gold Gloves. Absolutely impressive. His hitting has definitely tapered off in the last 2 seasons. Last year he hit 222, or 2 years ago he hit 222. This past season he hit 221. Only 7 home runs, 52 RBIs. He's really starting to tank a little bit on the offensive side. His defensive rating maintains 80, but his catcher's blocking, framing, and arm have all gone from 80 to 75. So we might be seeing the beginning stages of his decline. We do have him signed until 2041. So 2 more years guaranteed for him, and then we have 2 option years. Crazy to think that we could potentially move on from him after these next 2 seasons, and when we have the option to move on from him. He will be making $16 million in those years, and I'm sure I'll be able to afford it with this new owner, but if he is already starting to decline, I can't imagine what his defensive rating is going to be in 2 years. If it's not up here where it is now and it's starting to decline quite a bit, there's definitely a possibility that I could move on from him, especially since he's already declining offensively. So we'll see. 6 straight Gold Gloves, though. He's got 6 Gold Gloves, 5 All-Stars, a Silver Slugger, and now 2 World Series championships. So he's put together quite an impressive resume at age 29. So I hope he doesn't decline. I hope he just kind of stays where he's at and can continue to produce what he is right now, and then I'll just keep him. But if I see a sharp decline, there might be a better offensive catcher out there that could become our starter, and then Vicente could possibly be the backup. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if I keep him around. But yeah, time will tell. So the Gold Glove for Vicente, and then we also won a second Gold Glove, and that is our center fielder, Mr. Mason Davis, has now won his 5th Gold Glove. He also had a string of consecutive Gold Gloves, was snapped at 4, and that was in 2032. And now, 5 years later, he's won another one. So great to see Mason finally get another Gold Glove, 5 Gold Gloves, 5 All-Stars, a Rookie of the Year, 2 World Series, a World Series MVP, and a Division Series MVP. So that one really don't count, but definitely World Series MVP. Great year for the 31-year-old, and hopefully his 32nd year is just as good. That is all of the awards, I do believe. Let me double check. Yes, all the awards. Pretty good, I would say, overall. I thought there would be a couple more, but honestly, doesn't matter. We won the main award, and that's the World Series championship twice in a row. So I'll take that over individual awards any day of the week. Our fan interest is now at 94, so that is almost maxed out, and hopefully it continues to climb. We need to get through arbitration, though, and see what's available in the free agent market. Salary arbitration. We're going to withdraw 4 offers, one being from Mr. Jim Barry. Definitely just not worth the $2.4 million that he is going to get. Bobby Mercurio, a one-time promising prospect for us, got hurt and his ratings plummeted. So really unfortunate, but he was set to make almost $3 million and play in the minor leagues. So we withdrew that offer. Next is Benny Gage, who we had with us in the major leagues last year and the year before. 2 years ago, he did great. Last year, he did pretty miserable at a 5.16, and his ratings have actually dropped considerably. So not going to offer him the $1.8 million that he was projected to get. I think I could probably find better in the free agent market. And last but not least, Jonathan Myers. Again, he now has the injury proneness of wrecked. Really haven't seen much out of him. Didn't play with us at all this past season in the major leagues. So was projected to make $4.2 million, and there's just no reason to pay him that. So we're going to withdraw that offer. Everyone else is going to get the offers that they are anticipated to get. Pending free agents: Isaac Cardenas, Javorsky Lane, Brendan Rohr, and Jonathan Rigsby. All are set to become unrestricted free agents. I am going to take a look and see if they're worth signing. A part of me says I should probably try, especially with the amount of money that we've gotten, but I'm not going to go overboard and just spend it all on them. So I'll explore some contracts offline and let you guys know, but currently they are set to become unrestricted free agents, and I am not going to submit the qualifying offer because I'm almost positive they'll accept. And it'll probably be more than they're actually, or definitely be more than they're worth. So we'll see whenever I get done looking at them offline. And then a few more free agents down here that are all minor league stuff, so nothing crazy. The only one that was on the major league team at the end was George Lombard Jr. We're going to let him ride to free agency. He did play well for us. I'll look and see what he wants. $2.8 million is not crazy considering what he did, but he'd be 33 years old. And I have someone that could probably fill his shoes at a much cheaper and younger cheaper price and younger in age. So we'll let him become a free agent and move on. So let me explore these contracts and I'll let you guys know. All right, so we are going to offer Jonathan Rigsby. He's only 28 years old. He'll be 29 when the season starts. He's only wanting a 3-year contract, and he wanted $15 million over the 3 years. And I'm going to offer him 3 years, with the third year being the team option. But I'm going to offer him $12.5 million instead of the 15, and he is willing to think about it. He said it sounds reasonable, and he'll get back to us. I think it's a little steep still. He is our backup first baseman, but he played outstanding for us this year because Danny Fouts went down with an injury. He plays a great first base. He had 3 errors all season, and he played the majority of the season. And he hit well too, 270s. I think he had like 10, 15 home runs. He did what he was supposed to do as the backup. And with a decent bat and in a great glove, I feel like I want to keep that. And it's just kind of like my safety net if Danny Fouts goes down again. So we'll offer him the $12.5 million over the 3 years. Guaranteed money, he's only going to get 7.5 because the first year of the contract is $3.5 million and then the second year is 4, so he's only going to get 7.5. I guess technically he'd get $8 million because there's a $500,000 buyout in the last year, so guaranteed 8, and if I take the last year then it'll be 12.5. So I think that's fair, $4 million a year for a solid backup catcher, and he could potentially DH for us. Now that we have a little bit of money, I'm okay spending that money for that type of player. But let's take a look at Brandon Rohr, because I might offer him as well. All right, Brandon Rohr, we're going to offer him a 3-year deal as well. He was looking for 40 years, but we're going to do 3 years with the option in the last year. So really only a 2-year deal. He'll be 31 soon. So I think it's okay to offer him through his age 33 and then potentially 34 if we want it. But he was wanting $32 million over 4 and then $24 million over 3. So I offered him $21 million. He says it's acceptable. He'll get back to us. And we'll see. I'm going to submit that offer, but thought it was important that we sign him because we're losing Javorsky Lane and Isaac Cardenas, who all play backup roles and starting roles. And that would have been 4 infielders we would have lost to free agency. So potentially we could sign 2 of the 4, the cheaper ones that are still very, very solid players. So hopefully that lessens the blow on the infield. And there's a couple of free agent potentials that I saw as well that we might could look at in free agency if we have enough money. So we'll see. Those are the 2 contracts we did, and hopefully we hear back soon. All right, we have made it to free agency. Good news and bad news. Bad news is we didn't sign the guys that we had offered contracts to, and then once we hit free agency, the contracts, basically the offers went away. So we got to restructure the contract, so it is good news. Specifically with Jonathan Rigsby, we got to restructure it to a 2-year deal. 1 year was the guaranteed year and 1 year of an option year. And that total deal was $7.2 million, so we came down a little bit on him. And Brandon Rohr is still up there on the $24 million mark for 3 years. A little bit more than we were going to do, but we did get some flexibility in the budget, it looks like. So I went ahead and re-offered him 3 years, $24 million. So Not the most attractive contract, but I really do like him. He's been very solid for us, and he's been consistent. So I am willing to pay for that, knowing what I'm probably going to get. Other than that, I think the biggest thing that we need to attack this offseason is obviously, the infield like we're doing currently. We do have some minor league prospects, one in particular that's probably ready. So I'll keep that into account. And because of that, I am going to be kind of selective in the infield picks. Um, we have a couple of options. Obviously, we have our old friend Isaac Cardenas. We could bring him back, but he's still wanting too much. But at the same note, he's wanting 6 years, so that's kind of the hang up. The money I don't think is the option. It's just the years. Even though he does want $20 million a year, I could probably get him off that. But the years is what's killing me. Javorsky Lane, again, wants 16.2 million with a 6-year deal. Gonna be 30 soon, so I'm not extremely attractive there. Juan Cardenas, you guys might remember if you've been watching this for a few seasons now. We had him for a while, and we let him go to free agency in 2034, but it was really good for us. I'm actually going to get an updated scouting report on him, but he's 30 years old, and it says he wants $11 million, but he only wants a 3-year deal, so that's a little bit more reasonable. Not the same caliber player as far as defense, but he's not bad defensively and can still hold his own with the bat. The other one that I saw was Ricky Dodd. Very interesting here. 29 years old. He is fragile, but he's only won $8.5 million, and he does have solid defensive skills. I have a low scouting report on him, so I'm going to get a new updated scouting report and take a look at him. He does have good traits and has a pretty good bat. So interesting to see what comes back from the scouting report. But he's definitely on my radar, especially since he's only won $8.5 million. And he's only wanting a 1-year contract. So definitely need to get that scouting report back and see if he's useful to us. He could be extremely useful. The other one I've been looking at, and it's not someone high on my radar, but if Rigsby goes through and doesn't want to sign with us, Santiago Cabrera is a very good consolation. Plays first base, left field, and right field. Not great at those positions, but can hold his own over there, and looks like he has a okay bat. Again, average profile for scouting, so got to request in to get that updated. But I do love the fact that he is a captain personality and has all of the intangibles that we look for in a player, and he isn't wanting much money. He is wanting a 1-year contract worth $4.4 million. So definitely on my radar. I don't love the fact that he's a first base corner outfielder guy, but I'm not opposed to it. So especially at that price, and he's a left-handed hitter, so put out a scouting report for him and see what we could come up with. Those are the guys that are kind of on my radar for infield, so let me know what you guys would do for that. Moving over, I do want to do something with the bullpen. I think it is obvious that was our weak spot last year, was the bullpen. Now that we have lost those infielders to free agency, you could argue that, obviously we need to take the priority over on that side because we do still have all of our pitchers returning. But anyone that watched could definitely see that was our weak spot. So I do kind of want to look into potentially doing some changes there. I've gone through and seen a few guys that I like, and I just don't know if I like them enough, but I do like them. I guess it helps if I go back to the top up here. I I just keep getting hung up and don't know if I want to pay the price. The first one is Candace Wayne. Candace Wayne. I don't know how to pronounce that. Wayne is interesting. One, he's a captain, personality. Two, bullpen guy, right? Has really interesting profile, low stuff, but he has great movement. The home run allowance, the control, fastball, slider, on the cutter. But his career numbers are really good. His highest ERA in the major leagues in his career is a 3.50. Multiple times have been in the twos. He's been a closer, and now it looks like he's moved into the hold or a setup guy. So I do like him. Only won $8.5 million, so it's definitely something that I'm considering, and he's only wanting a 1-year contract. So definitely on my radar. Let me find the other guy I was looking for. Okay, yeah, I found him, Mr. Vince Collins, another interesting guy. Only a 2-pitch pitcher, but really good 2 pitches with his stuff and movement rating. Ground ball pitcher, leadership, work ethic, intelligence, holds the runners on well, and also has a really good young career as far as ERA goes with his saves. So interesting reliever there. He's wanting $11 million. He is fragile, but I do like him. I'm going to update a report just in case, but he's only wanting a 2-year deal, so definitely doable. He's only 27. He'll be 28 when the season starts, so definitely doable for a 2-year deal there, and piques my interest. But other than that, that's kind of everyone that piques my interest so far in free agency. Let me know what you guys think, what you think we should prioritize here in the off season. And yeah, I'm going to end the episode right there. It's a good stopping point. Got to free agency, and let this sit with you guys for a few days. Well, I shouldn't say a few days, a few hours before I, go and edit and make a new episode and move on here. But again, thank you guys so much for watching. It's good to be back making the videos. I'll continue to put them out every day or two and keep this thing moving along. But thanks for watching, and I will catch you all in the next episode. Have a good one.